My name's Todd, I'm 42, I'm a single father of 3, and I suppose to use the old cliche, this is my journey. Probably for the last 10 years I really battled with my weight, and I ballooned to about 137, 138 kilos. I felt terrible about myself, my whole self-esteem was through the floor. I started to think like a woman, and does my ass look big in these clothes? But for me, with my career, I'm a detective sergeant with the police, so I go to the death of nearly every person. And for me, when I went to 3 deaths of 3 blokes, my age, my size, all within about a month, I was becoming very, very paranoid. I just didn't want to die. That's quite simply what it came down to. It started to affect my kids, in that I used to occasionally wear a police uniform and went to pick up my daughter one day, and there's this young girl crying on the ground, and Nina's standing above her, and she's into her. And I said, what's going on? What's happened here? And she said, she said, here comes your dad, the fat policeman. And it really upset her. So her reaction was to defend me, and that's what she did. And I don't pretend for one moment that what she did was acceptable, but it just goes to show you the ripple effect of your own issues, how it affects those other people. So for me, the decision to go and do it was a good decision. I let everyone know what I was doing in terms of my journey, because I knew that I would have to rely on my family and friends to support me through it. And for me, that was a good decision. And a lot of people want to keep it secret. For me, I don't know why, but for me, I had to get that support. I spoke to a lot of my friends who were surgical nurses, because when you're making this decision, it's a big decision, it's a life-changing decision, and I wanted to make sure I got it right. So I spoke to some theatre nurses, and they said, I wouldn't go to him because of this. And to go to Dr. Jordaan, they said if I was going to get it done, he'd be the man. So in terms of the quality control, that was the research I did. And look, I don't regret it for one moment. The procedure I went through, obviously, I had an induction period of, I think it was about 3 weeks of shakes before it, where the whole process was to get rid of a lot of the fat around your liver. I dropped, I think 6 kilos, 7 kilos in that initial period, and then when I went on the table, I think I was 131 kilos. I was in hospital for 4 nights. It was the worst 4 nights of my life, mainly because I'm away from my family, and I didn't really deal well with the morphine. I was like a woman at that time of the month, being this an emotional wreck, and it was a very difficult time. And for the first 3 weeks after it, simply being on your liquids, your shakes, your custards, your ice creams, it was horrible. There's no sugarcoating it. I just got overwhelmed with the mundane of eating like that. But do you want to know what? That 3 weeks fades into insignificance of the progress that I've made in the last, I think I'm 7 months post-surgery now, and I've dropped 42, 43 kilos, and I've plateaued probably for the last 3 months. I've got a new lease of life. I've got a new outlook where you feel good at looking yourself in the mirror and go, geez, I'm proud of what I've done, and the kids are proud of it. I can keep up with the kids. My vocation, I used to have sleep apnea. I'm no longer on a CPAP machine. I used to have high blood pressure. That's down. My GP said I was about to get diabetes. So for me, it was a great, great decision, and I've told plenty of my friends. My sister went and had it done, and she's 3 months post-surgery, she's dropped 21 kilos so far. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's the best decision that I've ever made, and I can't sing the team's praise enough, because it's almost like a holistic approach. You go through the first period of talking to Julie and Lorraine to get into your mind is, why are you doing this? There's a lot of seated problems as to why you do it, whether or not it's your self-esteem or what you want to achieve. And you learn a lot about yourself. In terms of how this has affected my life, to be able to go and buy clothes and not have to go to the big man section and get, like I've dropped 12 inches around my waist so far. So I've gone from 44s to 46s down to, the other day it was a bit of an achievement to go and get a size 34 pants. I eat whatever I want. Julie probably doesn't want to hear that, but I still eat whatever I want. But want to know what it is? I eat portion control. So I went out for dinner last night. I had just half a dozen oysters Kilpatrick. It hasn't affected my social life as much. I just don't eat as much. I go and play golf probably a couple of days a week. I go to Aldi and I buy those little packs of cheese and bickies or tuna and bickies, and I'll eat probably every 2 hours. And if I'm out working, I have to plan in how I do things now. So I'll take a little pack along with a bit of ice, and I plan how I eat. So it hasn't affected the way I do too many things. My kids are proud of me. You know, I keep up with them now. You know, I can do the things I never used to do. The joints and the hips and the problems that you used to have as a 41-year-old, 42-year-old blokes was a bit premature, but that's all gone.